What are jets? What are jets? Good question. A jet engine is what propels these lovely bits of aircraft. I'm pretty sure that's where they get their name. First jet invented was it a Messerschmitt? World War II? No, it was a Heinkel. We got some funky disco music. Turn down a little bit. Play. Right. It's a classification of aircraft, yes. But it's also just the engine that propels it as a jet engine. And you can attach a jet engine to something that isn't a bit of aircraft. So it's an interesting one. Yes, we got that royalty-free music. We got Kevin MacLeod playing while we paint jets. It's gonna be great. Absolutely great. Slightly obnoxious music. This is called the Comedic Juggernaut. Right. Let's. What about this? Oh yes. What's the gradient under my color management window? So these are the HSB sliders, and then this is just the box to pick color from. I believe it's a labs box, which is pretty funky. Don't really use it much though. I'd mainly just use the sliders. Yeah, the color box. It's just the bounds of the color. That's all. Go from light to dark. I mean, it really shouldn't. Like, it could just be a slider if you think of it that way. It might be a bit easier. It's basically my current color versus my secondary picked color. And then you can pick anywhere on a gradient on that. Which might be fun. That's up to you, I guess. blue, ideally. Lots of goblins underneath this. I think that's actually a choice of camouflage. go. Let's just grab this. Hello. How are you doing? No, no response. Are you muted?
Hello?
Legend.
Can you hear me?
Can you now? Yeah.
I wasn't muted. I wasn't. I was just that I wasn't fully plugged in. Was my issue.
What
Yeah.
a maniac.
The fool.
How you doing?
All right. Getting back on the studying more.
Oh, good.
And I saw this thing in a tutorial today, which made me feel like the biggest fool ever. So I'm glad I saw it.
What's the...
It's basically so if I wanted to create fog in a scene in Blender, I'd just like make a cube, put it over the whole scene, and put it on and give it like a principal volume or something.
Yeah.
But you can just go into the world view tab through the nodes and then plug a principal volume in there,
Yeah.
and then you don't get the insane amounts of lag that you'd normally do if you put it as a cube, because it I think it simulates in a slightly different way when you do it that way.
It does, yeah. You get a far less control over it that way.
Yeah, but it like drastically reduces like render time and all that. I considered I was paying over it anyway, so I was like, oh, okay. I could have just done that all this time.
Been making cubes this whole time.
No, I could have just done that this whole time.
Oh yeah, goobin.
Oh yeah, I've been making cubes. Oh, smells like fun. Right. It's study time.
Wow, there's never been a greater time.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, apparently there's never been a greater time.
How did study time catch on so well?
Good
Like-
question. Actually.
Because people don't just go from doing no work to a lot of work just by seeing other people work, do they? Do they? If they do, that's great.
I think I get a bit of that, like when I see like I think Feist is a good example, or I don't know, something like that. It's like, wow, he's just done like something really good. Like Daniel McGarry is a really good example as well, because he was like a year or two ago, he was like maybe a little bit better than I am now. In like the last like bit of time, he's become like incredible and now works at ILM. So
Yeah.
I think I see it, or maybe it's not seeing other people work, but seeing other people succeed is like a big thing. Like
True. Hello, Ashish Kumar.
Hello.
Very close to Sathish Kumar, famous concept artist. So does that sum up your day? You discovered you were a fool.
Yeah, and then well, I did a few drawings of apes because I saw I keep forgetting his name, whether it's Daniel or David. I think it's David. David David Dubois or David Dubois.
David Dubois.
Wow. I stumbled across his Instagram today. It was recommended to me.
It's good.
And I recognised the name because I was like, I think you've spoken about it before. And I've definitely seen his drawings before. And he said I saw a post that he did where he warmed up with some drawings of primates. And I was like, oh, that's actually instead of sitting down and saying, right, I'm going to spend the next like 2 or 3 hours just drawing like a load of stuff, just use it as a warm up, and then I'll probably
Monkeys
keep
are
getting
cool.
that drawing.
Monkeys are interesting. Hello, Genevieve. Monkeys are very cool.
So I was like, that's a good way of getting the drawing in.
Bit of a warm up.
So
Makes sense to me.
another open day. I'm working on the 18th.
Is that the one that I'm doing? Can't remember.
Alright. The money from Miller. I'm happy.
I'm not very happy.
Why?
Bought a projector.
Yeah. Oh, you're telling me.
Next day delivery. I thought, you know what, I won't even risk it being sent to my actual address. I'll send it to the post office because it's right next to, you know where the post office is.
Yeah, yes, down the road. Middle of campus.
It has all day to turn up. Turns up at the post office. Literally 1 minute after the post office closes. So it can't drop it off at the post office. And it's going to re-deliver tomorrow. And for all I know, tomorrow it's going to go straight back to the post office at the wrong time. So that's a bit
That's actually really good.
a bit annoying. I was hoping to have a little projector set up this evening, watch some Netflix and stuff. But no, not on Royal Mail's watch. Do I use Wacom Art Pen? Yeah, I do. If there's one thing you should invest your money in, it's the Art Pen.
I was thinking about that actually, about getting a tablet upgrade and getting one with tilt.
It's not tilt. You've probably got tilt already.
I don't have tilt. As I've got the one, the white one that you used to have. I don't have tilt or rotation.
Neither.
No.
Most have tilt. It's rotation that they don't have. Which
Well,
is
it's at least rotation, which is like
rotation's the biggie. I think rotation's so much better than tilt. So
But
much
I
more
don't have-
natural than tilt.
But I don't have rotation, and that's quite like.
It's worth the investment.
Like, because it is a bit of a pain using the arrow keys all the time.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And you can use the arrow keys if you're determined.
You can, but it feels like it slows me down quite a lot.
Let me bring up on stream for anyone wondering. Some stuff I did with the arrow keys.
I feel like it just slows me down. It doesn't feel natural at all, so I feel so slow. And I'm like rapidly clicking the arrow keys or shift clicking or whatever to try and get to where I was going.
Why can't I open this? Not letting me open this. Hello? Okay, I can't open the file I'm trying to open. Never mind. But yeah, I am not a big fan of like display tablets and that kind of expensive stuff. I think it would be a way better investment in every single way to buy pen with rotation.
Yeah, I don't like display tablets. I think we both tried them and both disliked them.
Yeah. But
separately as well, without even.
a pen with rotation. Oh.
It's just like I just find it so annoying when I want to rotate, and then you can make snaps to certain angles. Well, you can snap to any angle, but you're just clicking for ages to try and get the right angle, and it's such a bore. Like, it can be done though, but I'd rather just.
It's quite good before you get the pen. It's quite good that you're forced to use the arrow keys, I think, because then you're consciously thinking about, if it's so much of a hassle to get the correct angle, then you're actually thinking about what angle you want when you're putting down.
Yeah, but it becomes, which I agree, but it becomes like.
It definitely does become annoying, yeah. But
It's like.
I wouldn't get a pen before you've done that. Before you've gone through the pain.
That's like a good rule of thumb with a lot of things. It's like, do it, go through like the pain, like the difficulty first, then you'll probably learn quite a lot.
That can be
Really
seen
do
as
things the hard way. So
kind
learn
of-
in it, same thing. Learn perspective the hard way, drawing all your vanishing lines and everything. And it takes ages, and then you can not do that in the future. You can use 3D in the future if you want, or whatever.
It's that simple, girls and boys. It's that simple. But yeah, yeah. It is a good pen.
But I'd have to get the tablet and the pen, but I've got a job now, so
Yeah, yeah.
it should be worth it.
You have to have the tablet that supports it. I wonder if, because like Huion and things are getting a bit more competitive with their pricings. Do any Huion tablets support pen rotation?
The only Huion I've tried was the Huion Canvas, which is one of the screen ones. And I can't remember, you know. I think it might have done. Yeah, I think it might have done, but that was like in the early Huion days. And it was a really bad tablet. I really hated it. Because that was when Huion was like the only competitor, but XP pens apparently a pretty good competitor now. I know a few people who've used an XP pen, and I tried it briefly, and it seemed pretty good.
I was really annoyed that the Apple Pen that you pay like 100 quid for doesn't have pen rotation.
Does it not?
No, they're boasting it as like this technological marvel. The Apple Pen doesn't have pen rotation.
Oh.
If I'm wrong on that, someone please do correct me, because if I could get my Wacom pen to have pen rotation, I would just use my iPad. But...
Yeah, the Apple Pens have pen rotation.
I don't think they do. But anyway, the plan is with this jet to do exactly what I did with this Rhino, where I take the Rhino, make a big creature thing.
Yeah.
I want to turn this jet into a design of some sort. And the first step for that is to separate it out from the background, probably. You reckon the Art Pen is the only pen worldwide that supports pen rotation? Someone else must have done it. You can't patent. I guess you can patent the device which allows for pen rotation. A nice plane. I believe it's a MiG.
Oh, you're playing.
Are you into your planes? Do you know if it's a MiG or not?
Oh, I'm not enough into. I should be, because they're pretty cool for design.
That's what I was thinking. I've just, so far with this like concept-y stuff, I've applied it to creatures more than anything. I was just interested to see. I know it will work with hard surface stuff. I just want to know how well it will work. Do you reckon it will be easier, harder? I think I'm happy with that. as a study. And spend some time making it into a concept. MiG 21, older than that. It's not my favorite MiG. I have a favorite MiG. It's the MiG 8. Let me find my painting of my favorite MiG. This fella. Fully like chrome MiG. Yeah, I did forget the red star. Okay. Maybe we don't want the red star. It's pretty iconic and stuff.
I was doing some exercises on Lost Edges today.
What kind of
'Cause I watched-
exercises?
It was just like taking a cube and then just painting the cube like so it looks 3D, and then adding loads of different, like, obviously give it a shadow, like it's cast shadow, and then add loads of like planes in the background that are like different values, and then you can see if you can like lose any of the edges of the cube, like blend in the dark side of the cube into the shadow.
Yeah.
And stuff. Just to
Did you get some
practice
good results from
I did okay. I did two different ones. I did one starting with hard edges everywhere, trying to soften it up a bit, and another one starting with soft edges everywhere and hardened up the ones I wanted. And they turned out alright. It was from a Makibuchi video, I think, like, that I watched. It's a good video.
I just want to isolate this plane. Have your head in any books at the moment?
I do actually. I'm currently reading The Bloody Meadow.
I've never heard of that. Who's it by?
It is by, let me have a look, William Ryan. I'm not very far in. Basically, it's about a guy who is like a detective. But he's not really. He's like a. I guess he's a detective. He's more of like a police officer kind of thing, though. And he's almost like commissioned by someone high-ranking in like Russian authority to investigate a murder, because it was like, well, it's currently assumed to be a suicide, but I'm at the end of like chapter 3, and at the end of chapter 3 they say, we want you to investigate it. We think it's just a suicide, but you need to go and see if we're right or not, basically. So the fact that there's still most of the book left to go, I imagine it wasn't a suicide. But there's like a lot of like, because it's in Russia during, I think it's around World War II. There's a lot of stuff like if people knock at your door, you could be like whisked away in the night and never be seen again. So there's like your place with stuff like that. It's quite good though.
Lot of Orwellian. Sounds good.
So
I've been thinking about getting into H.P. Lovecraft, because I watched
yeah, Oh, I did. I did read some of the Necronomicon at the start of lockdown.
I haven't read any of that yet. I watched Color Out of Space, the new film with Nick Cage. I think it's new, or at least it was like it's fairly recent.
Yeah.
And it was garbage. It was just
Yeah. It's got Nick Cage in.
Don't badmouth Nick Cage. What the hell?
Not that bad. Nick Cage, all I want.
It was the whole concept of like Lovecraftian horror, as I'm sure you know. It's like cosmic horror that you can't identify it, and that's what makes it terrifying. It's so beyond our understanding as humans that you can't even describe it with human language. That's how. And this film basically reduced the monster to like a gas cloud. And it was like, oh, I guess any visual representation you make of a Lovecraft monster is immediately going to be scarier than the way he was describing it, because the entire point is that you don't know what it looks like because you can't describe it. So as soon as you represent it as a cloud or even like a terrifying creature concept or something, you've just taken away its charm. But anyway, I thought, oh, you know what? This is based on a Lovecraft little short story. And it wasn't a very long one. And I wanted to read the stuff for a while, so I just started reading The Colour Out of Space after watching the film. And the book is great. It's absolutely great. So it's a real shame that they made kind of a mess of it with the film. But it was fun.
Yeah, the short stories in the Necronomicon are quite good. I've read. I don't know if you heard me, but I was reading that. I read some of them at the start of lockdown.
I did hear you.
And they were pretty good. But yeah, so because you can read them in like any order, I'm pretty sure. I think there is an order that you can kind of get them chronologically, but they're not really linked. There was a. They were right. I don't really didn't really read a lot. So.
I quite like the fact that they're little short.
Yeah.
That I can just do in like an evening or something.
Yeah. That's what I really liked about the Necronomicon, because I was reading. Before the Edo, I was reading Crime and Punishment. I'm about just over halfway through, probably getting close to the final third of it, and it is an absolute. It is just a ball ache to read. It's like they'll because all the names are Russian. They'll introduce for me as a foreigner to the Russian language. All the names are so similar that they'll just go and introduce like 3 or 4 characters with very similar names in like the same paragraph, and it's just like whoa. And then I cannot keep track of their like relations to each other, why they're important, and then they spend like a ridiculous amount of time. Actually, I guess that's kind of a good thing, but the main thing is it's like I just can't keep track of who's who and the importance of each character.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
The book's just not enjoyable for me. Imagine for Russian, it's obviously easier, or someone who's probably better at reading than I am. But it was I read it because it was advertised as one of the easiest to read of like the big classics, and it's just not. Well, I don't know, I'm just stupid, which is probably Probably true.
Either that or I'm just stupid. That's the age-old thing. Is this difficult or am I an idiot?
It's just like I just got so annoyed. But then they'd name a character, and I was like, oh yeah, that's like the woman who died at like 2 chapters ago. And then it'll be like, and then it'll go on about that how that woman's like speaking to the characters. Like, wait, how is she speaking to them if she's dead? Actually, she isn't dead. It's a completely different character that they're talking about. It's like, okay, I give up. I concede.
Simples. Paskudlo, as a Russian native speaker, wants you to list out some of the names from Crime and Punishment.
I've got the book here. There is a list of names at the start and who they are, but the issue is I don't want to be doing that every
that's
every
understandable.
2 pages. But I'll read out some of the. Right, okay. That's the. Let me find the list of names. So there's Raskolnik. Well, because right in Russian, I think it's like I don't know how the names work, but I think it's the middle name that's different between people, because there's Raskolnikov Rodion Romanovich or something like that, who's the main character, and then there's Raskolnikov Avdoita Romanovich, which is his sister, and the book will quite happily just refer to both of them as Raskolnikov and not really explain like the differentiation between the two in terms of like what they're doing. It's a bit like, okay, I don't know which one they're talking about. And then there's their mother, who's also called Raskolnikov Pulchera. Oh, their surname's different. Alexandrovna. That's okay. So I think it's because they refer to multiple characters by either the same name
Or like their family name or something.
Yeah, like there's Alyona Ivanova, I think it is, who's the old pawnbroker, who, spoiler alert, I think that she's the one who gets killed. And there's Aveta Ivanova, who's her sister, who also gets killed, and they'll just refer to one of them by the name Ivanova and say, okay, which one are you talking about? I don't know. So. And then they'll just.
Paskudlo, yeah. Did you get all of that?
And then there's just like, they introduce a character called Zosimov and a character called Zametov in like the same paragraph and barely describe what they do. They just introduce them at like the same time, and then it's like, and then they'll name one of them, and I don't know which one they mean because they've both been introduced like exactly at the same time. It's like, okay, whatevs.
It's been absolutely.
So I tried to struggle my way through it. It's just so unenjoyable. It's like I don't want to sit down to read a book and just hate every moment of it. That's just not. It's just not what I'm here for. So.
It's not fun, is it?
No. But I imagine to someone who's like either Russian or reads a lot, it's probably easier to like differentiate.
Maybe, yeah. The only reason I've been thinking about picking up more books, educate myself. I'm in that mood. I never thought, like, I had Mr. Dillon talking to me for years and years, telling me that the best time of your life is when you're in education, when you're in high school and stuff. And as a stupid child, I went, yeah, lol, I hate homework. And now I have a job and I wanna learn things and read. It's like, oh Christ. Why?
Yeah,
Why? What sort of messed up world are we living in where children hate learning? And then by the
I
time
know.
you realise,
By the
it's just
time you finished
so
education, you
late.
absolutely love it. Surely it should be. You should just love it all the time. But yeah, I'm exactly the same. I absolutely hated high school. Then we went into college, which was like sixth form, and in sixth form, I only realized like, oh wait, this is actually worth putting effort into in about the last 6 months. So it was a bit late to get good grades by then, because no matter like I worked really hard, but I still wasn't able to do very well.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and in the summer after that, I was like, maybe I should have actually like worked hard, because learning stuff is like really really fun.
It is, yeah.
And then ever since I've been at uni, I've just been addicted to it. And so I wish I was addicted to it when I was doing my bloody A levels, and then I could have become like a doctor or like a vet or something.
Not an artist, yeah.
Not literally putting all my eggs in one basket
Oh,
and becoming an artist
anything
instead.
but an artist.
Yeah, it's a bit. I mean, it's a good job to have, but it's a bit risky. It's a bit of a risky.
It is a bit of a risky one. I wouldn't have it any other way. I do enjoy it.
I've always thought that, like, my worst case scenario by picking an art degree is that, like, worst case scenario, I don't get a job in the art industry at all. Then I've spent 3 years at university studying stuff that's really cool and I've enjoyed myself. So it's like, okay, that's the worst thing that's going to happen. That doesn't sound pretty bad.
That's not bad at all, no. But you're right. That is worst case scenario. You've spent time honing a skill that you can basically take with you for the rest of your life. You can paint and draw and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And then you find a job elsewhere, like
But
everyone else.
I'll make sure I get a job doing it. I'm pretty determined, so
Pretty determined, so
sure of it.
I'm sure you'll be fine. Lauren's been talking to me actually about she starts her second day today in her new job. She says it's just like staffs. You just go in to like their equivalent of Cadman. You sit down at the computers and you just draw stuff. It's like, oh, that's great. That is absolutely great.
It's just like going to cabin. I love that, going to cabin every day and draw.
Well, that's what I've been doing.
That's
with a bit less drawing. Yeah. Less drawing, more looking at PowerPoints.
Do you do a lot of? Have you had to do any lesson prep yet?
Yeah, I think I've done my back in actually.
Why?
Do you know the clay heads?
Yes.
I've been moving them around.
Yeah.
They are so heavy. And
whose clay head?
Just everyone's clay heads.
Oh, you've been
because they didn't do clay heads last year, so all these clay heads are from 2 years ago, and no one's come to pick them up, and they're completely taken. They've been stored up for so long. Yeah, I found Ben Griffiths' head. I've saved for some of them that are like nice that you can use for, I don't know, display and making a point when you're trying to teach. But the vast majority of them, they just hundreds of these heads had piled up in A10.
Yeah.
And I've just been loading these heads like 5 at a time, which is still stupidly heavy, into a backpack, and then walking to the skip and dumping them in the skip, then walking back again, and it's just Christ, back hurts.
Goodbye to your back.
Yeah, pretty much. How's this looking? Some sort of weird futuristic jet. I'm listening to Gateway to Hell by Kevin MacLeod. What the? Good God, I'm pretty sure I was playing really nice like elevator music by Kevin MacLeod, and this is the next thing on on the playlist. What else can I do to this funky jet? You better look in my live stream chat because Pascudlo is explaining Russian names to you.
Is there a live stream chat? Oh, in the Realm of Morrow.
No, on the
On the YouTube.
on YouTube. Oh, the gambler.
I remember asking Albino about it, but sorry, Albino, I don't remember.
Unbelievable.
Let's have a look.
Look this jet. Maybe it's got really tall legs.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like if all the characters just had like I can't say if all the characters just had English names.
Not gonna happen. No. That's
Is
a
it-
wish that will never come true.
Um,
It's your inner British colonizer coming out there. Just make everyone else speak our language. Yes.
like other than that though, I've got to admit I actually have enjoyed it because it's talking about the very intro to the book. It's basically just like he kills someone, which is pretty. I think it's on the blurbs. That's not a spoiler. I think he kills someone, and then it goes on about like his mental battle about how he's going to turn himself in, and then it's like, oh wait, no, I'm not going to turn myself in, and then he's like bed bound because he's insane for like a week, and then all of a sudden he's just not. He's just like, okay, I'm going to get up and go for a walk now, and he'll just go for a walk, and then go to a pub and like pick up a newspaper and read it, and he'll see someone, and that person will be like, haven't you been bed bound for last week? Like, how come you're allowed out? And they'll be like, oh, I've just come to get the newspaper. And then he'll like tease that he's murdered someone, and then just go back to his room and just be bedbound again, and have gone insane again. It's just like, oh, this man's mad.
What?
Yeah,
How?
it's just like jumps around, and that's just like how he's gone insane though. It's pretty interesting. It's obviously not done in the way I described. It's actually done in quite a proper like educated manner, but it's pretty good.
What if this jet is like really short at the front and long at the back? I don't know. That wouldn't help it take off in any way.
Yeah, you gotta think about the center of gravity and all that when you're doing the planes.
But I just mean in terms of like the wheels, you know. Like it's got two really tall back wheels and then the front wheel's really small like that. I think that's quite fun, if nothing else.
I know Concorde took off like I think it's wheels. I think most like airliners like their wheels are on like different angles. Not their wheels, but like they are lean. Like the plane itself is like leaning when it's stationary or on the ground.
I get the feeling you should be able to see it to the wing.
Back in the moat. I am back.
Welcome back.
I was thinking, this kind of off the back of the conversation that we had earlier. There aren't many jobs that I can think of. Maybe there are, and I'm being naive, maybe. But where you can like work for like God knows how many hours a day for like 3 years, and just like not know if you're actually gonna get a job at the end of it or not. I
Oh,
feel like
there aren't many professions, you mean?
yeah, like I feel like a lot of jobs are like once you've got your degree, like the degree itself is proof enough that you know your stuff. But
Yeah,
for some, I don't think the degree itself is proof enough that you're that you're good enough.
well, that's why a lot of people disagreed about getting rid of the dissertation element. Because that is proof that you have done a degree. So even if you don't immediately get a job in an art-related field with your art, you can still show people the degree and say, "Look, I've written a dissertation. I know how to read and write."
Yeah.
My scratch discs are full. Let me save this before it dies. I'm liking this jet. Got something good going on. Bear in mind that was the original.
I still got it paused from ages ago.
Change the. Oh well, you'll see it when it's. Just want to change the. Maybe it doesn't have wings. Thanks, Ernst. Thanks.
I think that might be a staple of a lot of planes. I don't think that might be one of the elements that maybe
I want to retain. You reckon?
I think if you're going to retain an element of an airplane, then
I don't know.
I'd suggest that the wings are pretty vital. Unless it's just good that
maybe it's just like a kamikaze manned torpedo that gets dropped out of a bigger plane. Yeah, or it's just a rocket. No,
yeah.
I do intend to put the wings back on.
What a wimp.
A wimp.
Yeah.
I'll do something interesting with them, but I like this as like a body.
I shouldn't call my lecturer a wimp. That's maybe a bad move.
It disturbs me that you call me your lecturer.
Don't know if you'll teach me yet. Do you know if you'll teach me?
I know that I won't teach you. I won't be teaching you for anything, I don't think. Unless Anthony wants me to host some sort of emergency lecture on some wings on the front, like a hammerhead plane. It's an interesting theory.
Yeah. So slamming my keyboard there. Alright, Instagram post is ready for today. Let's get it posted.
Not so sure about the whole wings on the front theory. Well, then maybe I just haven't executed them well.
Maybe just short ones, like little just aerodynamic nubs.
If they're too short, then they're not. They don't break the silhouette.
But
I
you have
guess
the normal
they
wings as well.
would from below. No,
It's got the
I just mean if you make a design element that's there, but it's not actually big enough to make an impression. Like ideally, if you're gonna make a hammerhead plane with wings at the front, which is pretty unique, you would make that like a centerpiece.
yeah, but you need the normal wings because it wouldn't fly at the moment.
It doesn't need to fly. It's like Buzz Lightyear; it just falls with style.
I don't know about that.
Buzz, we're flying. We're falling with style. How are you enjoying your newfound job title, Ernst?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
Electra time.
You've
I was
gone
posting.
from being in contact with basically no lectures to being in contact with 2
Yeah.
immediately. You're getting the best art education anyone could ever ask for.
I am.
Yeah, forget Singapore, forget FZD school.
Oh, I'd love to go to FCT so much.
We don't have to now that you've got
Yeah.
2 lecturers under your wing.
Maybe in my parents' will, I'll sell their house from under them. Obviously, well, I'll move from under them because they'll be gone, but I'll sell the house and do a year FZD. As that's probably what the house would cover.
1 year.
Just the 1 year. Do you know you can buy a house in Japan for like next to nothing? Like 5k would buy you a one bedroom house in Japan.
Price of living is low, yeah.
And the price of houses, 8 million vacant houses in Japan. You can pick like foreigners can do it as well. You can just buy a house in Japan for like next to nothing and have a holiday home.
It would have
You
to
can
be a
buy it for.
holiday home. Yeah, well, arguably that's
You would be able to live
why
there.
the house prices are, because they did have a housing crisis, Japan, because all of their land is right on the coast, right? And
Yeah.
Tokyo is like one of the most densely populated cities on Earth. I think it is the most densely populated city on Earth, something like
Yeah.
that. But Japan's got like one of the harshest immigration systems on Earth as well, so they're not letting anyone in basically that they have to house or anything. And Japanese people don't have many children either. Like their culture does not encourage.
And the
large
children
families.
the children they do have all move to Tokyo because kids want to get like high paying jobs. So not many of them stay in like the rural areas. They'll all go to like the big cities. So that was the issue that we were having, that all the old people or adults were having kids. They were going off to Tokyo or whatever. And then the older people were dying, leaving the houses vacant. So that's why there's 8 million vacant houses. You can get like a proper traditional. I forgot the name.
I would love a nice traditional Japanese.
You can get them for really cheap, like crazily cheap. Like, well, there's 8 million houses in there, but and I was thinking about this because a lot of them are coastal because obviously there's threat of tsunamis and that. But I was like, if you were very successful and your house that cost, I don't know, like £5,000 got washed away in a tsunami, as long as you weren't there,
buy another one.
but yeah, it's not as much as a loss that it'd be if like if you were in the UK and spent like 200k on a house and that got washed away.
There are opportunities to buy cheap houses closer than Japan.
Yeah, but Japan's cool.
Japan is cool, but their immigration policy won't let you in.
You don't have to. Well, I think you can go on a holiday. Is it 6 months a year? Like you have to spend 6 months, at least 6 months of a year in a country to be considered a citizen. So just spend like 7 months in the UK. But I guess you can't really
with your job and
holiday
everything.
for 4 months. There aren't
Tough.
many jobs that
It's a
let you
tough
holiday for
one.
4 months, is it?
Yeah. You're off. See you, Ernst. Have a good night.
Any yeah. So if you want a cheap house,
Go to France.
you go to France.
'Cause
Maybe the flights would be cheaper to France as well.
do you know how many literal medieval chateaus there are in France?
Well, yeah, 'cause my mum watches that show, the Escape to the Chateau
With Dick
show.
Strawbridge. Yeah.
Yeah, and the two of them moved over to a chateau, like the
Yeah.
family, and they just live in it and do it up and then do
Yeah,
it.
but like all the chateaus in France are owned by British people because the French don't want to look after them. So we come over there and buy them, shoot them up. It's bizarre. They've got so much lovely history wrapped up in these big houses, and it's just kind of dying. Because all these houses. But the thing is, you can't. It's just the maintenance costs are so high that if you don't want to turn it into some sort of wedding venue, and you're not a millionaire, there's no way you're gonna own one.
Yeah,
You're thinking of
I think
getting
it was.
education in Japan. You've been learning Japanese for almost a year. That's fun. I started learning Japanese on the old Duolingo a while back. Forgotten all of it. As you do.
Yeah, same. I think I learned the hiragana and katakana, or at least the katakana. I don't know, no clue now. I could probably relearn it a lot faster though if I ever wanted to.
Definitely could. Yes, that's the.
And that's the point of it, isn't it? You learn something, and you'll forget a bit of it, and when you relearn it, you'll retain that knowledge for a much longer period of time. So like when you're revising for GCSEs or whatever, it's better to revise early.
It is,
Or
yeah.
learn everything the night before and have a 1 day of retention. And then you can forget it on the second day.
I think I've picked a really awkward angle where this second wing is going to be perfectly hidden behind this bastard.
Yeah.
And it just looks like I haven't drawn the second wing, but it is there.
Nah, it'll be hidden.
That's fine. I'll keep it hidden. Yeah. I'm liking this as a little jet design. But this is where you take this and you take it into 3D Coat or whatever else you want to map it up in. That was the original plane. It's a lot more modern now. Ooh. Maybe we get this like chrome deal and we bring that back in. I'd quite like to, if I won the lottery or something, I'd quite like to take my mum to Japan.
Does she like Japan?
She's a gardener. I'm sure I told you.
Oh yeah.
And she'd quite like to visit all of the gardening as a tradition has always been a very British thing, but it's kind of died and been revived a couple of times in our country. Where it is still going very, very strong in Japan. So they have all these wonderfully kept public gardens. We have to stick to the path and like walk around them, but it reminded me of I was thinking about how you could apply it to like 3D concept art and stuff. Because it was something along the lines of, from every point that you stand in this garden, everything is arranged to be viewed as like a 2D image from that point. And it's gone so far to the point where they have like a walk through garden that you don't walk through. You walk through a building in the garden, and at different points in this building they have big windows that you can stand at, and from that exact place, that exact window, everything is composed like a 2D image.
So...
And that's exactly how you view a 3D scene, isn't it? It's through a 2D window. And I thought, that's smart.
Well, I know a lot of like gardening, or I guess almost everything in Japan is kind of done with like a spiritual mindset. So like stuff like gardening is always done. Like there's people who's, do you know how they rake the sand into certain patterns. So you rake the small stones or pebbles in the gardens, and they do them in like certain patterns, or whatever. There's people who've just dedicated their lives to just doing that in gardens.
There's a Japanese guy in Hanley that does that.
Really?
Yeah, all of the gravel paths up near the bus station, which is public property. You sometimes see him. This Japanese guy comes out with a rake and does it all with the swirls and stuff.
Oh, sweet! I'd love to have a little rock garden.
Isn't that nice that he's just doing a little thing out of his own goodwill, just for the community? Taking care of the gravel.
But I think that's a very Japanese thing, that is doing things for the community. And it's like everybody kind of does a little thing for everybody. So what was this is that's kind of like their way of life to like. There was a quote that I heard the other day because I was watching James May's journey through Japan, and he was saying something like, it's a very Japanese thing to talk down your own accomplishments, but like big up other people's accomplishments. Which I thought was quite interesting.
This seems like a nice place to visit holiday.
Yeah.
Rural Japan, not city Japan.
I think I have to do both. To try both.
I don't even like London, you know.
And I hate London.
And Tokyo's like a mega city. So I feel as though I would just hate how busy it is, basically.
Get a car and you can drive anywhere then. I wouldn't want to drive through Tokyo though.
Are cars in Japan automatic or manual?
Manual, I think. Oh, probably both. But they drive the same as the UK. They all drive on the left hand side of the road.
On the left.
Yeah, if you can drive in Japan with a UK driver's license. You don't have to do any extra tests or anything. Even if you moved over there, you'd be fine to drive. Like buy a car and drive with our license.
That's good news.
So, but they have a mix of. Do you not like manual?
I haven't learned how to drive. I was just wondering, because it's very like Americanized after World War II. So I thought maybe they'd have an influence on.
Yeah, because I know the Americans all drive, or mostly drive automatic, don't they? Because they've forgotten how to drive.
Yeah.
Here's my.
Forgotten how to drive.
This is my issue with. Probably my only issue with electric cars coming up, because electric cars don't have gears; that they'll be automatic. which is a worry because when you're behind the wheel of a car, you should be alert with all things going on around you, right? And having to change gear makes you think about the road and the conditions of the road that you're on. So by making it automatic, that's one less thing that you'll ever have to think about. And over time, you're just going to remove things that people have to think about while they're driving. So there's now driver aids. So if someone swerves into your lane, your car will automatically swerve into another lane and avoid the crash and all that. So all these different things that are just going to eventually get people sitting behind the wheel of a car, completely brain dead, thinking about something else and not focusing on the road. So dangerous. I don't like that.
I don't like these pipes. What do you think of these pipes?
I think the pipes would be good, just maybe not there. Maybe closer up to the engine. Sorry, not the engine, like the nose, the air intake at the front, or at the back. I feel like it fills up an area of rest when they're there.
I agree.
But yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of. I'm a fan of electric cars because they do a good job at saving the environment, but I'm not a fan of automatic cars. Like you can get cars that park themselves now as well.
Yeah.
It's like you're just gonna have a bunch of people who are brain dead behind the wheel, and as another driver, that's quite scary.
Well, I guess that is the entire point, is to remove the decision making of whoever's behind the wheel, like, entirely.
Yeah.
Because people don't make good decisions anyway. So the less decisions you get, it's like you're thinking of it as they don't have to think about changing gears, therefore they're gonna cause more accidents. But actually, it's like maybe if we take the gears away from the idiot, they can't cause as much trouble.
It's a good point actually, because I remember watching a Top Gear episode that was like, it's actually a really interesting point, and Jeremy Clarkson was basically saying, so 50% of plane crashes that happen are caused by pilot error, and the other 50% or the other percents are all technical errors or something else, right? So if you remove, and we all know that planes can take off and land and do a flight without a pilot in.
Yeah.
But so if you removed the pilot from the equation, then you'd probably about half the amount of plane crashes there are. However, you would never get in an airplane that didn't have a pilot. I wouldn't. You'd want to know that there's somebody in the cockpit. It's not just a robot flying you about.
Although Tesla has like auto driving, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I saw an absolutely insane video, and they were trying to, I think, prove how good the auto driving was on this Tesla. So they went to Wales, and there's all these windy country lanes in Wales.
Yeah.
And they just went to the full speed limit of these country lanes, which is usually ridiculous because it hasn't been updated in God knows how long. And they put it on auto driver, and then they sat in the back of the car, and this car was zooming down these lanes, and I thought, you're insane. Even if this robot is brilliant, and it will definitely, you still wouldn't trust it. Who would trust it? It's madness to me that they did that.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
I just feel like people should be tested harsher. So it's not like the average person should be able to drive. It's like people who actually fully understand and have knowledge of the thing should be able to drive.
I haven't had to learn how to drive yet, so I'll see how difficult I find it.
There's a theory test, but some of the theory is good, but some of the theory is just like, this is impractical. Like this is kind of pointless theory.
Oh, I've taken the theory test. I took my sister was trying to pass her theory test, so she had it open on her iPad or whatever, and I took it, having done no learning for it at all, and I passed.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah. So
Yeah,
most of
it's-
it's good garbage. Most of it is complete
it's-
garbage.
And then the practical test, that should be harder than it is. My ones, come out of the test center, turn left, drive down to the promenade, do an emergency stop, and drive back again.
Was that it?
It was really easy. Yeah. I had to do a reverse Bay Park as well. But that was like an average test. That was pretty much how most tests go. They're not unless you do like a major thing wrong. So like, don't check your mirrors when you're pulling in somewhere. But it's just like, it should be so much harder to pass your test. They should put you in like simulations where like a motorcyclist is gonna like pull out on you, and you have to, because they do that in your theory. They'll play like a video, and it's like a kid that is like running towards a road or something from like a park because his ball's gone across, and then you have to left click when there's like, when you think that there's a hazard or whatever, but it's not actually reacting to a hazard. There should be like a simulator that you go in. Like a kid runs out in front of you, and if you hit the kid, then like the police chase you and stuff. Be great.
If you hit the
Should-
kid, the police are after you, and then that's another hazard. You have to.
You have
The
to
simulation
avoid.
forces you to drive away from the police, engage in like hot speed pursuit.
It could be better done. It's like, I mean, you can say the same about a lot of things. You can say the same about voting as well, like how it should be means tested or whatever. But
It's a tricky one, yeah.
yeah, anything. Oh yeah. The guy over the road from me's left his car lights on. They're blinking as the battery's about to die.
What?
Maybe I should go over and tell him, but I don't really like him.
When you come back to Stoke, though?
Not this weekend, but next weekend on the.
That's the open days next weekend. My internet died. Thank you. I'm quite happy with it. Hello?
Hello.
Sorry, my internet dies.
That's okay.
Freak.
Do you know if it's going to be in-person teaching next year?
Yeah, it is.
The whole shebang.
Yeah, granted, nothing catastrophic happens. Like COVID makes a big fat return.
Resurgence.
Yeah.
Glad to see it. I can't wait to be back in the lecture room, lecture theatre.
I'm not sure about this. I might just present it on a white background. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just present it. Maybe we should change the colours. Yeah. Pink plane. Pink plane.
Pink plane.
Let's just right, and then we can retain some green bits like this. I don't know how much I like pink plane.
I keep getting comments on my Instagram.
Saying what?
5 comments of just people going, promote it on at Art World or whatever, or I literally got
Just block
5.
them. Just block them.
I will. No, but it's different. It's a different thing every time.
No. I was telling Harry about this the other day. You block the comments. Like, you can filter comments with keywords. So I've filtered out promote, DM.
Let's get that going.
Something
Settings.
else. Don't ask me where to find it. Harry was, and I couldn't find it. I've forgotten where it was.
Edit comment settings. There we go. Hide comments that contain any of the words or phrases. Okay. DM. Submit.
Look at this glorious thing. So it applies quite well. The whole study to concept shenanigans. I think it's something people should be doing a lot more, you know. It's like a little mental exercise that's quite simple as mental exercises go.
Yeah.
And it's gonna teach you a lot. But I think that's about done.
Designed.
But yeah, do you know what I mean? I've been streaming for an hour and a half. Half an hour of that was probably doing the original study. So this is an hour, and I have something decent enough that I could take it and do stuff off of it. Whereas, you know, if you give a lot of people an hour, they'll make a mood board, which is great. Mood boards are great, don't get me wrong. But maybe not the best. You want like that punch, you know, that kickstart straight into a project.
Yeah.
I think if you drag your heels and start making mood boards because you don't have any ideas, you're like, oh, I guess I'll
Yeah, I
make
think
a
it's
mood
good to
board.
get some ideas out first, and if they flop, then
you-
it's okay.
you-
At least you started
yeah,
something.
you've done something. And if you get some good ideas out first, or just some rough ideas out first, I think you'll have a better idea of what you might need to put in a mood board, because you'll know what you need ref for, particular elements that you could do work. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. When are you giving it a go?
At some point. I keep meaning to get myself into more Blender. I did a little bit of it, didn't I? But I keep meaning to do like an actual piece that involves blending and painting, and I think I'm onto something with the way I can do it. But
Yeah,
it's just like to go from nothing to the finished piece is probably like going to be like a day of work. So I can't be bothered. Well, I can be bothered. This is just hard spending an entire day on one piece for me. Although I know that's pretty, that's pretty standard.
I know exactly how you feel. I can't. Like, do you know what I mean? I've spent an hour on it,
Yeah.
and it's a nicely painted design. I just have no interest in zooming in and painting all the details and brackets and all that, because I can tell that this is what the design is from here. But I was watching an Evan Amundsen stream, and he was zooming in on like onions in the background and painting every little
You were
bit
saying,
on
yeah.
this onion. And I said in chat, this is amazing. Like, it looks perfect. How long have you spent on it so far? I know that can be quite a touchy question for some people. They don't really want to disclose that.
Yeah.
Not because they're embarrassed about it, but maybe because they don't want to encourage other people to worry about how long they're spending. Yeah. So I could understand if he didn't want to answer it, but he did. He said, "Oh, we've spent 40 hours on it so far," and I was like,
I think that's pretty.
I
mean, maybe
think
that's on the long run, but a lot of hours is pretty standard.
I
That's
think
what I
I
feel.
think it is standard, but I just can't. I can't
Bring myself to
visualize
do
it. It's not even. I could sit down and force myself to do it. I know I have the willpower to do that. You know, you and me, we've sat down and forced ourselves
Yeah.
to do study after study after study. I'd be more than happy to spend a load of time painting, and I think that's what I'll have to do, is just force myself to do it. But it's just actually visualizing how long 40 hours is on one painting. I've been playing Fallout 4 for the past 2 weeks now. Every single day when I wake up and when I come home from work. And how many? Let me check how many hours I'm on Fallout 4. I'm on 31 hours. Right.
So you wouldn't even finished one painting
Well, no, it wasn't 40 hours to finish either. He was like halfway through.
there. I think.
And I
But
feel like I've been playing Fallout 4 for so long. I just don't know how you would spend that without.
I always do you get that much time in a job? I've always wondered, because if you get that much time in a studio to do a painting, if you get 60 hours or whatever it is, 40 hours, then
Oh,
that's fine.
yeah. It depends on what. Well, it depends on your prestige as an artist. You know, if Evan Amundsen wants to swan into a studio, and they go, right, we've got you in so you can design the big villain of the game.
Yeah.
You know, a full-time job 9 till 5 is that's 8 hours a day. So a week of work on one character design. Yeah, sure.
But if it was like some random junior and they asked you to design a barrel or something,
They're not going to give you 1,000,000 hours.
not going to give you 40 hours, are they?
But I mean, if you're a random junior, you're not going to be polishing individual onions like he was anyway, though. Are you? You're going to be getting thumbnails out, and sketches, and it's going to be a lot quicker. I would rather start quick and learn how to paint efficiently and quickly, and then slow down, than have the arduous task of being a really, really slow painter and then go, oh crap, I have to speed up.
Yeah.
I'm happy I've done it this way round, because slowing down at this point is just kind of a relaxing exercise. Like I've been trying to slow down with it, believe it or not. These stream paintings, you know, I was doing like 3 or 4 studies before in one stream, and now I've done a study and a design, and I've been trying to slow down to the point where spending a bit more time on it. I spent an entire stream the other day, I'll bring it up, painting this study, but it was still like an hour and a half. And I know people are going to be like, yeah, but that's a study, so you're just copying a photo, so you don't need anywhere near as much time. But realistically, when someone like Evan Amundsen is constructing figures, it's almost like a study from his mind. Do you know what I mean?
He's done it.
He's done it so many times that it's not like he's really struggling to figure out the lighting and the forms and everything.
Yeah, he
knows what he's doing. So it's just polish. It's just polish for God knows how long. And I still don't have anything in my portfolio, in any of my work ever, that is that polished. Maybe that's what I should aspire to do. I don't know.
We could probably share this. The longest amount of time that we've ever spent on one piece of artwork was probably our A-level exam.
Literally.
That's the longest
I've gone through 3 years of university and gotten a first. And I've spent longer doing our A-level examination, including the prep for it, than I have on like any of my designs for uni.
Maybe when I am souping up to do a key art. So yeah, maybe when a key art is like set at uni and it's like, okay, you gotta do your 3 environments of the key art. Maybe doing the key art shouldn't be considered like something to do at the end. It's like the 3 designs, and the key art will take up the same amount of time as one of those designs. So you split it into quarters.
Well, that's how the marking is split, so that would
Yeah,
make sense.
but
Yeah.
the key art.
The key art is
Something like-
sometimes an afterthought, isn't it? Yeah, it's like you've got
Yeah.
all your design elements, now you're just bunging them together. But this is an issue for me in terms of like motivation and things, because I look at artists that I really admire, like Feist, Gabriel from Your Year, Daniel McGavin. And I have to keep going back to this question: am I conflating some unattainable skill with how long they've spent on it? Because
Yeah,
and this isn't to say that they don't have unattainable skill, because they're definitely very, very, very skilled people.
Yeah.
But I look at their thing, and I'm thinking, oh, right, how have they done that? And at no point in that thought do I go, oh, maybe they've just spent fucking ages on it. But that's probably a large factor. Is time. Something I have to do. I've just been thinking, maybe do I just want to spend? I don't want to spend ages studying, right? Because that was Adam Hyder's advice in terms of slowing down, was get an image and study it for like 4 hours. I think that really would annoy me, or
you're gonna spend
bore
an
me
insane
or
amount of
something.
time on something.
You want it to be
You could
unique,
probably-
yeah.
But-
So I've been
yeah.
looking for some kind of perfect brief that would keep me entertained and would allow for that level of polish over a long period of time.
Because because like if so let's say that piece that I did recently with like the stone statues or whatever from that tutorial. Let's say if I sat there and rendered what I got to after maybe like 3 hours of work, maybe 4 at the absolute maximum. Let's say if I rendered that out for an extra 20 hours, the crit that I got would probably be the same as it would after 3 or 4 hours. 20 hours later, there'd still be things. 'Cause I'm a student. Maybe when if I wasn't a student anymore.
Well, it's not.
It's like-
There's no. It's not to say at all that you should spend 20 odd hours on everything you do. I think that's bad advice. I mean, Craig Mullins said it best when he said, in a given year you should have like thousands of half an hour to an hour studies.
Yeah.
And then 2 or 3 things that you really polish and spend a lot of time on. I think that makes a lot of sense. You're getting that rapid kind of learning feedback loop going, where you're producing something, you're getting crit, you're producing it again, and then the thing that you spend time on is applying it in a long form, just to kind of, it's like a midterm test or something to see how you've done, and then you take that back to your quick studies. I think that's best. Yeah. I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you for coming. It's been. This is why I invite Ozzy here onto the stream, is because you get to talk about house prices in Japan, why he hates automatic cars, and how long you should spend on a study. So it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming. It'll be on YouTube if you've only just joined and you want to watch the rest of it. We made a lovely plane. We made a ride. That was yesterday in Discord. We did a rhino and then converted it into a creature. And I thought today I'd take a machine, which is like a MiG jet, and then turn it into something else. So it's been interesting. Right, I will catch you on the next stream.
Bye bye.
And